Turtle and I had a whole afternoon to kill in Oklahoma City while I waited for some paperwork on the adoption to clear. After her nap, she was raring to go. She talked up a storm and wanted to play with Esperanza's medallion. I let her look at it in the side view mirror. You have to keep it on, I told her. That's St. Christopher, the guardian saint of refugees. I think you'd count. You're about as tempest-tossed as they come. The Tempest was a bad storm where things got banged around a lot. Tempest-tossed was from the poem on the Statue of Liberty that started out, "Give me your turd, your poor." Gaston could recite the whole thing. Considering how America had treated his kind, he must have thought this was the biggest joke ever to be carved in giant letters on stone. I tried not to think about Esteban. After a while, decided it felt better to think about him than not to, and Turtle was good company. We cruised around and met his Lincoln, a couple of free-willing females out on the town. Her favorite part was driving over the speed bumps at Burger King. During this time, we had what I considered our second real conversation, the first having taken place at the foot of the pine tree at Lake Cherokees. "What's up like this?" "What do you want to do?" "Okay. Are you hungry?" "No." "Well, where should we go, do you think? Anything in particular do you want to see? As long as we're here in the big city?" "Ma Wuan. Luann's at home. We'll see her when we get home. And Edna and Virgie and Dwayne Ray and everybody." "Wayne Wade?" "That's right. Ma Wuan? That's right. Only, let me tell you something. Starting right now, you only just got one Ma in the whole world. You know who that is?" "Yes." "Who?" "Ma. That's right. That's me. You got loads of friends. Luann's your friend, and Edna and Maddie, and all the others. And they all love you, and take care of you sometimes. And Esteban and Esperanza were good friends too. I want you to remember that. Them okay?" "Steppin' in Mespanza." She nodded gravely. "Close enough," I said. "I know it's been confusing. There's been a lot of changes in the management. But from here on, I'm your Ma. And that means I love you the most. Forever. Do you understand what that means?" "That beans?" She looked doubtful. "You and me, we're sticking together. You're my turtle." "Turtle," she declared, pointing to herself. "That's right. April Turtle Greer." Abel Ertl Deer. Exactly. On impulse, I called 1-800-LORD from a public phone in the city library, where we'd come after Turtle decided she'd like to look at some books. I don't know what possessed me to do it. I've been saving it up all this time, like Mama and our headrights. And now that I hit bottom and survived, I suppose I knew that I didn't really need any ace in the hole. The line rang twice, 3 times, and then a recording came on. It told me that the Lord helped those that help themselves. And then it said that this was my golden opportunity to help myself and the entire spiritual body by making my generous contribution today to the Fountain of Faith Missionary Fund. If I would please hold on, the line operator would be available momentarily to take my pledge. I held the line. "Thank you for calling," she said. "Would you like to state your name and address and the amount of your pledge?" "No pledge," I said. "I just wanted to let you know. You got me through some rough times. I always thought, if I really get desperate, I can call 1-800-LORD. I just want to tell you, you've been a foundation of faith." She didn't know what to make of this. "So you don't wish to make a pledge at this time?" "No," I said. "Do you wish to make a pledge to me at this time? Would you like to send me $100 or a hot meal?" She sounded irritated. "I can't do that, ma'am," she said. "Okay, no problem," I said. "I don't need it. Anyways, especially now. I got a whole trunk full of pickles and bologna." Ma'am, this is a very busy line. If you don't wish to make a pledge at this time." "Look at it this way," I said. "Raven." After I hung up, I felt like singing and dancing through the wide, carpeted halls of the Oklahoma City main library. I once saw a movie where kids did cartwheels over the library tables while Marion the librarian chased them around saying, "Shh." I felt like I was just like one of those kids. But instead of Turtle and I snooped politely through the stacks. They didn't have Old MacDonald had an apartment. As a matter of fact, we soon became bored with the juvenile section and moved on to reference. Some of these had good pictures. Turtle's Turtle's favorite was the horticultural encyclopedia. It had pictures of vegetables and flowers that were far beyond both her vocabulary and mine. She sat on my lap and together we turned the big shiny pages. She pointed out pictures of plants she liked, and I read about them. She even found a picture of bean trees. "Well, you smart thing, I would have missed it altogether," I said. "I would have too. The picture was in black and white, and it didn't look all that much like the ones back home in Roosevelt Park. But the caption said it was wisteria." I gave Turtle a squeeze. "What you are," I told her, "is a horticultural genius." I would not put it past her to say horticulture one of these days. A word I hadn't uttered myself until a few months ago. Turtle was thrilled. She slapped the picture enthusiastically, causing a young man at the reference desk to look over with his glasses at us. The book had been worth $100 at least, and it was very clean. "Here, let's don't hit the book," I said. "I know it's exciting. Why don't you hit the table instead?" She smacked the table while I read to her in a whisper about the life cycle of the wisteria. It is a climbing ornamental vine found in the temperate latitudes and came originally from the Orient. It blooms in early spring, is pollinated by bees, and forms bean-like pods. Most of that we knew already. It is actually in the bean family, it turns out. Everything related to beans is called a legume. But this is the most interesting part. Wisteria vines, like other legumes, often thrive in poor soil, the book said. Their secret is something called rhizobia. These are microscopic bugs that live underground in little knots on the roots. They suck nitrogen gas right out of the soil and turn it into fertilizer for the plant. The rhizobia aren't actually part of the plant. They are separate creatures. But they always live with legumes, a kind of underground railroad moving secretly up and down the roots. It's like this, I told Turtle. There's a whole invisible system for helping out the plant that you'd never guess there. I love this idea. It's just the same as with people. The way Edna has Virgie, Virgie has Edna, and Sandy has Kid Central Station, and everybody has Maddie, and on and on. Their wisteria vines on their own would just barely get by, is how I explained it to Turtle. But put them together with rhizobia, and they make miracles. At 4 o'clock, he went to the Oklahoma County Courthouse to pick up the adoption papers. Once Mr. Armistead's directions, we found a bright office where about 20 women sat typing out forms. Altogether, they made quite a racket. The one who came to the front counter had round, muscled shoulders, bulging under her pink cotton blazer, and a half-grown-out permanent in her straight Cherokee hair. A body trying to return to its natural state. She took our names and told us to have a seat, that it would be a while. The waiting made me nervous, even though there was no one here looking important enough to stop what had already been set in motion. It was only a room full of women with typewriters and African violets, and pictures of their kids on their desks, doing as they were told. Still, I was afraid of sitting around looking anxious, as if one of them might catch sight of my fidgeting and cry out, "That's no adopted mother, that's an impostor." I could imagine them all then, scooting back their chairs and scurrying after me in their high-heeled pumps and tight skirts. I needed to find something to do with myself. I asked if there was a telephone I could use for long distance. The muscular woman directed me to a payphone out in the hall. I dialed Luann. It seemed to take an eternity for all the right wires to connect. And when she finally did take the call, she sounded even more nervous than I was, which was no help. "It's okay, Luann. Everything's fine. I just called collect because I'm out of quarters. But we'll have to keep it short or run up the phone bill." "Oh, hex bells, Taylor. I don't even care." Luann relaxed immediately once she knew we hadn't been mangled in a car crash. "I don't know how many times this week I said I'd give $1 million to talk to Taylor, so here's my chance. It just seems like everything in this world has happened. Where in the tarnation are you? Anyways, Oklahoma City, headed home. I hesitated. So what's all happened? You decided to take on hell back? Or go up there and live in his yurtle or whatever? On hell? Heck no. Not if you paid me. Listen, do you know what his mother told me? She said on hell just once, what he can't have. That I'd no sooner get up to Montana before he decides he'd had enough of me again. She said I was worth 5 or 6 of on hell. His own mother said that? Can you believe it? Of course, it was all in Spanish. I had to get it second hand, but that was the general gist. And it makes sense, don't you think? Isn't there someone saying about not throwing good loving after bad? I think it's money they say that about. Good money after bad. Well, the same goes, is what I say. Oh, shoot. Can you hang on a second? Dwayne Ray's got something about ready to put in his mouth. I waited while she saved Dwayne Ray from the probably 19,000th brush with death. I loved Luann. Turtle was playing the game where you see how far you can get without touching the floor, walking only on the furniture. She was doing pretty well. There was a long row of old-fashioned wooden benches with spindled backs and armrests lined up side by side down one wall of the hallway. For some reason, it made me think of a chain gang. 100 guys could sit on those benches, all handcuffed together, or a huge family, I suppose, waiting for some important news. They could all hold hands. Okay, I'm back. So there's one more thing I have to tell you. Remember about the meteors? I called up Ramona Quiroz in San Diego long distance. There wasn't any meteor shower. Not at all. Can you believe that? That was just the absolute last straw. Blank heavens, I said, it occurred to me that nobody else on earth could have understood what Luann had just said. So that's the scoop on Hell's history. Now I'm seeing this guy from Red Hot Mamas by the name of Cameron John. Cameron's his first name and John's his last. Can you believe it? I had a science teacher like that once. I said. So does Red Hot Mamas give out a sexual manual for the chili packers? How to do without touching anything? Taylor, I swear. He does tomatillos. They're not just boss people now. As you know very well. Anyhow, I can't wait till you meet him to see what you think. I know Mama would take one look and keel over dead. He's about 7 feet tall and black as the ace of spades. But Taylor, he's so sweet. My biggest problem is I keep feeling like I don't deserve anybody to be nice to me. He invited me over for dinner and made this great something or other with rice and peanuts. And I don't know what all. He used to be a Rastafarian. A what? A Rastafarian. It's a type of religion. He's got this dog, a Doberman Pinscher, named Mr. T. Only Cameron didn't name it that. Someone gave it to him. It's got pierced ears. Taylor, I swear to God. With all these little gold rings. I can't believe I actually went out with this guy. I've gotten so brave hanging around you. 6 months ago, it would have scared me the living daylights out of me, just to have walked by him on the street. Which, Cameron or Mr. T? Either one. Oh, I can tell you, he was so good with Dwayne Ray, it just about made me cry. Or take the picture or something. To see this great big man playing with the little teeny pale white baby. So are you moving in with him or what? I tried my best to sound happy for her. What, me? No. Cameron's sweet as can be. But I'm real content with things the way they are now. To tell you the truth, I'm sure you're a lot easier to live with than him and Mr. T. Oh, well, I'm glad. Taylor, remember that time you were mad at me because you didn't want us to act like a family? That all we needed was a little dog named Spot? Well, don't get mad, but I told her somebody that you, Turtle, and Dwayne Ray were my family. Somebody at work said, do you have my family at home? And I said, sure, without even thinking. I meant you all. Mainly, I guess, because we've been through heck and high water together. We know about each other's good and bad stuff. Stuff nobody knows. It was hard for me to decide what to say. I don't mean till death do us part or anything, she said, but nothing on this earth's guaranteed. When you get right down to it, you know. I've been thinking about that. About how your kids aren't really yours.